Well, I believe that thing should be starting to get start up soon. I'm pretty sure. But if there's one thing I can mention, I mean, if you're if you're talking about act showing the actual game itself of no, but I am actually gonna be watching the game live on the Apple TV service. You know, I mainly try to do stuff like avoid copyright and stuff. And hold up, I need to fix this. That was a bad angle to let that end on. There we go. But yeah, I can't show the actual game itself, let alone pick up the audio. Oh, because of copyright stuff. But but for those that at least want a different perspective on everything and such, I basically still at least use this little personal scorebook thing here to help keep people up to date. Eh, But I do find it interesting how these MLS streams have been the ones that get like the hundreds. I guess there's more people interested in the sport than they are in minor league hockey. I mean, the NFL ones I at least get. And basically everybody's gonna be tuning into an NFL game of some kind. But all that said, we got an East versus West matchup here between the Colorado Rapids and hello. I don't get why things get weird like that sometimes. Like I usually have this set. I've been doing a better job at getting this out to where that doesn't happen that much, but apparently for some reason, and the whole thing wants to go like, "Oh, you're trying to do something and showcase some sort of reaction or kind of thing." Too bad. It's base basically too bad. But I'll definitely be. But I tend to like doing stuff like this as like basically a part of the continuous quest to better under better understand the sport. We'll probably get some butcher pronunciations and along the way. So so in turn as far as this being early in the season, I would still say that there's a lot of even matches. I would say there's still a lot of even matches right now. So I'm not gonna try to describe how Toronto's been doing versus how Colorado's been doing. Now, even that's despite the fact that Colorado has won one more game than in Toronto. Oh yeah, and speaking of Toronto, the Maple Leafs playoff streak is over. They have been eliminated. I've seen people try I've seen people try to make the argument that the Leafs did not make the playoffs in 2020. But if you remember, it was a weird year in itself and the league decided to count the playoffs differently compared to everything else. So this is pretty much one of those few times where you're better off just going by how the league phrased it, because and I've actually seen people try to use Wikipedia as their main source of evidence. Like, bro, it's Wikipedia. It's more of a starting point to dig deeper into a particular subject, not the place to get all your information from. No, really. If you really wanted to dig deeper into how the playoffs actually worked, your best source is going to be some actual credible sources that better explained how that particular playoffs actually worked. So by those particular metrics, anybody who at least made it to the qualifying rounds that year basically made the playoffs. I've I've seen a literal argument and breakout out with the whole claiming of Lee trying to appease fan narratives or something like that. Like, what do you want the league to do? Just declare at that point onward that for the 2020 season, only the regular season is over and whoever was the top 16 teams total, well, whoever was the top 8 from each conference made it in, and just not have a proper and not just have a standard procedure. Like, and I also argued that there is no official rule out there that every single sports league and organization has to follow a singular playoff format every year. If if they had to do that every single year, or then what happens to the beauty of stuff like March Madness? They never held a tournament that season, but they did eventually bring it back as it was. It was before that whole thing. That's my main thing. Like, if there is a rule where everybody has to follow format as the exact format at a one singular format across everything, you're basically asking for a bunch of legal issues to pop up. And the leagues that really don't want to follow it are going to break that rule regardless. Because money talks. And I don't remember if the Coyotes actually won a series that year, er, but know that if they actually did, you would be basically taking away whatever the Arizona fans have left to claim. So, yeah, it's basically like, I basically made a comparison to that of the current MLB playoffs. The first round now is the wild card series. It'd be like claiming that doesn't count. The divisional series is where the first round actually occurs. Like, what? You're telling me the Reds didn't make the playoffs last year? You're telling me that at there was that one time that Mets did not make it in? Saying the Blue Jays didn't make it in that one year? You're It's like asking for a whole bunch of dominoes that have no reason to actually occur to come apart. It's better it's better to just admit that that particular year a completely different format was necessary. Not so much for the draft lottery though. That was just a straight up screw job. But for the regular playoffs themselves, there was a need because of how that went. A different a complete change for that was needed. Jeez, I got on to talking about that for so long, we still haven't even talked about who's starting at net. So in at net, starting in at net for the Rapids is Zach Stefan, or maybe it's Stefan. No matter, well, I've been wrong so, probably like a million times before on pronunciations. But starting in at net for Toronto is Luca Gavron. And I will also take this time to bring up, if anybody's, for those that are interested in hockey right now, the Sabres are actually in a position to clinch the playoffs. They're actually about to. Yes, the Sabres, the Buffalo Sabres of all teams. What a world we live in, right? Lightning can clinch. Canes already got in. They're just looking to lock up the Metropolitan. The Flames are on the verge of being eliminated. It's going to take a regulation loss to Anaheim and the Kings winning over the Maple Leafs in any fashion. The Panthers survived elimination yesterday. Well, they've been surviving for a little bit. But their new scenario is a regulation loss to the Penguins or one of two potential paths, which is an overtime shootout loss and at least 1 point by the Blue Jackets, 1 point by the Red Wings, and either an Islanders win or a Senators 1 point. Then the second path at would be a Columbus win versus Winnipeg in any fashion, a Red Wings win versus the Rangers in any fashion, Islanders get at least 1 point against the Canes, and the Senators beat the Wild in any fashion. These scenarios are absolutely crazy. You can definitely tell just how much of a crapshoot some of this is. Also, one of the notable sport regional sports networks thing is officially ceasing operations at the end of the NBA NHL season. I think I went on for long enough about the world of hockey. Definitely went on for longer than I needed to. The game itself over here should be starting momentarily. It usually takes them a good bit after the projected start time to actually kick things off. And Toronto's gotten a 46.1% projected win probability, according to the whole thing that's sponsored by DraftKings Sportsbook. Yep, 46.1%. Well, in favor of Toronto. So they're thinking Toronto gets win number 3. Yeah, take it as you want. Let me just refresh that page. There's because I need to have a feed up on my other end too. So we should be about to kick it off. Yeah, they're at. Yeah, it's right there, ready to go. Game is underway, everybody. Game is underway. See if I can figure out who's wearing what. Well, they show it on there. Toronto's wearing their white jerseys, and the Rapids are wearing their black jerseys. Huh. Not what I would have wanted it to see, but there's the first save for Stefan. As Colorado is starting off. They started out on the defensive. Now they're looking to try to find some openings that lets them move the ball forwards. They're kind of taking their time to do so. I didn't even go over lineup stuff. It's like Colorado's running a 3-4-3 and Toronto's running a 4-4-2. I never really went over that one. Let me make sure this thing is actually live. As I have to keep this thing updated often. And Colorado is still like 3-4. Man, that's gonna be a foul. But yeah, I think they got the wrong save thing saved. Because but yeah, because that should have been Gavin on that little save earlier before that foul. As the Rapids with possession across midfield. Only they're having to send it back towards Stefan. Oh, they were showing a 4-2-3-1. Okay. So it's a 4-2-3-1 for Colorado. They don't always show that particular part. I guess they can decide to change their lineups on the right before the start of the game, I guess. Either that or they can use variants. Who knows? I do like you can tell the goalies apart from the regular players. Just from them having to wear a different kit. That is usually of a brighter color. Okay, they removed that one that wasn't supposed to be, but I'm not gonna complain about how they fix the fee things on their sites. But yeah, we've had quite a variety of matchups so far throughout this season. We had two straight games end with a 2-0 win at home. Then we had at week 3 end with a 3-1 win at home. And then we had an absolute massacre of a game in week 4 or for a home win. And it was like 6-0. Yeah, the Whitecaps were out seeking revenge that day. And then week 5, we finally saw a road team win a game, named 2-1. And now we're here for round 6 for week 6 of this. I think this is like the first game of the docket too. Like the first game of the docket for today. Like right off the jump. So if your favorite team isn't on right now, chances are they're either gonna be in the 4:30 time slot in the East, or they're slated to start at a much later time in the evening. Like Real Salt Lake is set to host a game at what is that supposed to be 2:30 p.m. at the local time, with New England hosting at 4:30 local time. Shoot, it's gonna be 6:30 p.m. In the Pacific when LAFC hosts Orlando. Houston is gonna be about 7:30 local time when they host Seattle. So there's definitely a lot of matches coming up later in the day. I think all of the matches are today. I think all the teams play today. It's like I can take a quick count. See, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, all 30 teams play today across 15 matches. Everybody plays. Everybody plays today. I believe there's like 34 weeks, 34 different match days. And I mean match days as in the weeks when matches are played. I believe there's that, and then there's the playoffs. I'm probably not gonna cover the playoffs outside of maybe the cup. Man, that shot went over. You can definitely enjoy shots going over the net. Yeah, that went way above the net there. Is there no fans on that particular? Jeez, did they not open that side of the stadium? I know it's at BMO, but do that not do not that many people show up for Toronto games where they have that one side look like there's no seats and they're just showing coach for Colorado Matt Wells. I'm just curious. I mean, if you happen to be in the area and have a better explanation for why not that many show up at that particular stadium for these particular games, just let me know. But I believe they also have to share. I think part of it may also be they have to share it with the Toronto Argonauts of the Canadian Football League, which I think starts back up play next month. I I believe. So they may not even have that section open, and depending on how they feel about their attendance. I don't know. I'm sure someone will explain why that is when it comes to how that would work with Toronto FC and the Toronto Argonauts, because they share that venue. Like how BC Place had the BC Lions and the Vancouver Whitecaps. So I think the Whitecaps. Oh, that almost went in, but it's off to the right. That was not ideal. The lineup was right there for it, and it goes to the. It was right, wide right. Wasted prime opportunities. You gotta love them. I wonder if the person who shot that was Cuddy Parkey. No, he would hit the post. Maybe it was one of those former NFL kickers who can't kick good anymore. We'll explain a few things. And it's not like the net is that small either. It's a pretty wide net. It's not like hockey where you have to get something small through not that big of a net. But yeah, I can definitely tell when a kick goes wide. That ball just goes out of bounds. And I know the actual commentators tend to do a better job at trying to call what's going on in the game than I do because they have like a literal sheet of names right there for them to reference. I would think, and they can better pay attention of action. Like I'm just doing this because, well, why not? It'd be fun to do. Plus, I could be using something like this to, you know, help with being more animated if or whenever I do end up with a job. Gonna help me feel more animated, you know what I mean? More animated. Any chance to feel a little more animated and be able to actually adjust the tone up and down, not up and down in terms of loud and quiet, but up and down in terms of happy, sad. Like happy and sad. Happy and sad. Don't like using it as a bit of a mask, if you think about it. First, it's not gonna beat working with a real person to do it, but potato potato. Anyways, Toronto's with the ball right now. They're not gonna call that one. And Apple TV tends to be Apple TV with this. Well, it's just new. At least it's not as bad as it is with Flow. That's a good thing. They just could use a little bit of work on their stuff. I'll take watching on Apple TV over watching on Flow. No, not that one that could try to save me some car insurance. No, that's a different one. Though they did get a little pricey. It got pricey where I ended up switching to Geico, where they were actually able to save more on car insurance. I just wanted to make those car insurance jokes. That's all I wanted to do. Anyway, quite the eventful first half it is, ain't it? You can definitely tell, that they want to win from how they're playing. Well, kind of hard to, though. But here's a breakaway chance for Colorado. And that shot is going to be saved by Gavron. A breakaway chance. And to get on the board. And the goalie was just already right there to stop it. Ugh, jeez, I'm already going through hiccup stuff. That ball ends up right in the hand of the guy run, who throws it back out. 4 shots for Toronto. I think that was the first one for Colorado. So the shots on net has been somewhat lopsided, but it's still early on. There'll be more chances to get a shot in. Toronto trying. Nope, it's going to end up in the hands of Colorado. Never mind, it's going to end up on the feet of Toronto. Who try to keep it in the zone. And it's going to end up towards the car. Or that's there in the stadium. That ball got sent flying to a car that was right there inside the stadium. Because teams will love to do that sometimes. Like the pirate ship at Raymond James. Been there a few times. Or the bird sculptures there. Or at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Or that 12th man flag in Seattle. Technically in this sport, the goalie's the 12th man. So I wonder how that would go. Actually, hold on. 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's 10. There are. Okay, I was. Okay, so the goalie is man 11. There's just that there's 10 players that just move around freely. But yeah, so there would be a thing as a 12th man in here. Here as like the myth. But I can definitely tell you, there have been some interesting things. Oh yeah, Chelsea's going on at the same time as well. So wonder is yeah, no, that was gonna be stopped right there in its tracks. Even I could have seen that coming. Cameron just kicked away a ball that would have found its way in, but it was so slow. You had plenty of time to just go like, I can only imagine. But if there's any good news about this particular camera angle, it's that was a miss to the right, and it hit the back of the net. You know what's crazy? That's twice there's been a miss on that net for Toronto. Seriously. Which NFL kicker decided to join the team? Did Chris Boswell revert back to 2018 against the Raiders? Yeah, I can definitely. Yeah, this would be. I should have a little bit of a. I should be able to make use of my usual positioning for the camera next week. And here's Colorado on the breakaway. Yeah, it's wide. Saying it was blocked, but it went wide. Crazy, ain't it? Yeah, if y'all have issues, but again, if y'all have issues with buffering stuff, refresh. Just refresh it. I'll keep mentioning that. If this was done closer to evening, I would assume it probably would have gotten more views, despite the short duration thing. But none, whatever. I ain't too picky about that. And why not have some fun with it, right? Just have some fun. Also, I think that's a foul that they called. So we've definitely had plenty of misses here. And I do mean plenty of misses. They're trying to make sure the players are lined up for this kick. Okay, they should be about good now. And that there's gonna be no chance to try and knock it into the net. That kick gets sent way flying high up. I can only imagine how much it would hurt the head, if you know what I mean. When they send it that high up like that, I would hate to imagine how bad it must hurt to hit for it to hit the head. Like one powerful ball being kicked to that area. You probably like you know how hard that is. You're probably looking at a pretty serious injury. The fact that they can even use their heads to hit the ball in the first place. I probably would be hesitant. But it is a corner for the Rapids. But no, Colorado's not going to be able to execute it well. So I have to throw him back in. Colorado stalling for opening. And I do mean stalling for opening. Some challenges from Toronto. They intercept it. So Toronto is now trying to get a little bit more aggressive. But that ball is going to be covered up by Stefan. It'll be in. I think trades are available to be done in this particular league. I know the little transfer window thing for the international players is coming up. Especially with the FIFA World Cup inbound. So there's going to be a little bit of a break for that at FIFA World Cup. But I can I can only imagine just how much running has to go on. You wonder how frequent they get cramps? Because that can't be fun. I mean, granted, I did have to learn a little bit of basketball growing up myself. Maybe, maybe there'd be some pickup basketball in the area. So here's Toronto looking to advance things back. And that's going to be a yellow right there. Here, I know I saw it pop up there, but I just saw what occurred. And yeah, that's a yellow. Jackson Travis just got hit with a yellow card. Or that was a bad. that was a bad challenge. So Jackson Travis now needs to be careful before he ends up getting hit with a red. Because because if he gets called again, then that's gonna be the game for him. And there's going to be a bit of a timeout here. They're checking for a possible red card for. They're checking for a red card here. They're on the video. They're they're on VAR looking for a possible red card. They want to make sure they're checking for the seriousness. And they gave up their. It's a red. It's gonna be a red. It's a red card. Or for Jackson Travis. His time in the game's over. Colorado's forced to play down a man. They gave him the initial yellow, and then VAR comes in wanting to check for a potential red, and they confirm it's a red. Snipe, his day is over. 10 players for or the rest of the game for Colorado. So now Toronto will have all the advantage they want. As it's been taking quite a bit for Toronto. They're it's I wonder if if it was a potential injury. There's definitely gonna be a good chunk of extra. There's definitely gonna be a good chunk of stoppage time added on to this first half. But we are starting to see some substitutions now. Seeley's coming off for Rosenberry. That's the first substitution for Colorado. They're gonna they can't sub out Travis. They can't. And they can only sub out who can actually play. Yeah, I could tell just from the way that at the collision occurred, that was at least a yellow. Then Via Review came in and said, "Hey, we need to take another look at this. This could be a red." They're definitely going to add a good chunk of stoppage time to it. I'm thinking in that portion alone may have been closer to 4 minutes in itself. But yeah, we definitely got ourselves some fireworks now. Oh, and they just gave a yellow card to Wells. I guess he must have said he must have said something into the refs to warrant getting a yellow. So if I'm not mistaken, if there's a chance he could end up with a red if he's not careful himself. I wonder if it he was wonder if he took issue with the red card along the way. Be interesting to hear the reasoning. But yes, coaches can be shown the cards and be shown the door during a game. Definitely already seen the fireworks. Definitely already seen the fireworks. I can only imagine what is going on in the mind of Wells. But again, he's gotta have to watch it because at this rate, he could end up with a red at any moment. And now we're gonna see another card that looked a little bit like embellishment, and but they're going to give out another yellow. I think they're gonna get they're gonna give one to Zimmerman. So now Walker Zimmerman has to be careful. That's been 3 different cards shown in just this first half. And we still got the stoppage time to go. Go for it. Ball's thrown back into play. Toronto with it. Toronto's looking to try and get on the board. A little bit of regrouping going on. And that is just caught right there by Stefan. We've definitely seen all kinds of things go on here. So I wonder how much stoppage time total is going to be added to this first half. And it's back out of bounds. Colorado with possession. Going for retreat. And they're having to try to make do with what they got here. And here's a breakaway chance. And it's for Colorado, and that's gonna be stopped by Gavron. And it's gonna be 5 minutes of stoppage time. 5 minutes. Just trying to pay attention to the progress. Toronto looking to try to get on the board. That's not the way. Toronto is having to regroup. But they're able to stay so within the Colorado zone. Quite the viewful, ain't it? Some challenges there, but Toronto is able to retain possession. It's gonna end up Go going back and forth on who has possession and then out of bounds. Quite an interesting approach, ain't it? Oof. Then it's kicked away. Toronto's going to advance it back. So much for an opportunity. It gets covered up by Stefan. We have quite the scoreless game here. Wonder how much either of these teams really want to win. Wow, let's see what win either one or how much either team wants to win. It's definitely a couple yells to watch out for going to halftime. Who knows how much more physical it could get? Going from mountains to sea. Or maybe from Rocky Mountains to Niagara Falls would be more accurate. And here's an attempt for, well, not really an attempt for Toronto. It's actually Colorado who's going to get the attempt here on a breakaway, but now it's going to end up towards Gavron. Toronto gets possession of it back. They're looking for one last push before the half. They can't get it through. Stefan's just going to cover it up. And I think that might do it for the half. Yeah, that's going to do it for the half. So go into the little halftime thing, and then we'll be back for the second half, everyone. That was the first half, wasn't it? Quite the first half. A scoreless first half, a red card, a yellow to Wells, and a Toronto player with a yellow. And look, I timed it perfectly. I was just all doing my own little thing for a little bit, and I felt I needed to come back, and look, I came back. Just in time. I wonder if there's been any first half substitutions. Because that's happened before. There's been first half substitutions in the past. There definitely have been. They're they got like a little bird sculpture staring down. Really? I didn't know that. So I guess there weren't any halftime substitutions. So we're all good to go for the second. We'll see if Wells gets a red. We'll just have to see. Well, thanks for telling me about some paperwork. Definitely greatly appreciate you letting me know about some paperwork. Didn't think commentators could bring up paperwork. Apparently, they do bring up paperwork. Colorado. Nope. Out. A breakaway chance, and Colorado gets stopped. But yeah, we're definitely down to our. Oh, yeah, in terms of minor league hockey, I will mention there's 3 total left before the playoffs start. The one that showcase next, which, depending on how things go, could be a potential playoff matchup. The final game for the Gargoyles. And we got the Heartlanders coming in for one time only for a farewell home game. Since they're going to be suspending operations for next season. Oh, they're looking to see if there's a penalty. Oh boy, they're looking for a potential red card for denial of goal scoring opportunity. Uh-oh. I think somebody try to make their case for it. There is a shove in the back. It's ref discretion right now with the video assist. Maybe at least could be a foul. But red card is ref discretion right now. We'll see what is discussed here. They just announced that it's 10v10. It is indeed a red. Already a red. It is early. It's a full 10v10. Raheem Edwards is shown the red for Toronto. His day's over. For denial of goal opportunity. And I don't think Toronto's coach is really trying to put up much of an argument. So it will be 10v10. It's early in the second half. 10v10. Now fans are going to end up being the 11th man. Oh, several different incarnations. Yeah, that's one. Yeah, that's one way to put it, Mr. Commentator, dude. Several different incarnations. Yep. And now here comes the free kick. It's may end up providing an opportunity. Could end up actually showcasing something for every once in a while. Colorado ends up with a free kick. And that is straight into the net. Colorado strikes first. Paxton Anderson right off the free kick. Just nails it in. What an eventful way to open up this second half. What an eventful way to open it. Straight right through the net. Did I say Anderson? It's no, it's Paxton Aronson. Paxton Aronson, not Anderson. It's Aronson. My bad, but still a good goal. Aronson gets it in straight off the free kick. So now Toronto needs help for a response. Situation quickly turned against Toronto. Just like that. And there was a substitution. It's taking a little bit of update, but there was a substitution. They said it was for Toronto. It'll take a. There it. Okay, it's updated. So Kerr is off for Pereira for Toronto. That's their first substitution of the game. Apparently, we should probably should be renaming this "Kick Those Balls and Throw Those Red Cards." And that's another one straight into the net. This is becoming a disaster very quickly for Toronto as Colorado just scored again. And that is for Keegan Rosenberry, who just got their way in. Things are going very south already. But yeah, now we're on to some things here. That shot got blocked to where it's going to be a corner. And Toronto has not been able to do well. Toronto is making use of a substitution now. Zimmerman is coming off for Monlouis. Toronto needs a serious answer. Be a miss to the left. This really has been a tale of multiple phases. Phase one, be slow. Phase two, let's throw in a red card. Phase three, let's just slow back down again. Phase four, we're gonna have some craziness. Phase five, we're gonna throw in another red card. Phase six, we're gonna throw in some goals for Colorado. Phase seven, we're gonna start slowing things down again. Phase eight, who knows? Phase nine, we'll see if we can even get to a phase nine. And I can imagine Toronto is in need of something here. They needed something. That bounce off the official? Uh, okay, that was definitely a little confusing. Maybe the ref wasn't out of the way when it occurred or something. I don't know. Or he tend to not do a bad job at getting out of the way. Now the win probability is in favor of Colorado because of all that. The bar just swung all the way to the opposite direction. Stefan just takes it into his hands. Oh, Edwards was one of their defensemen, so their defense cracked down. Got cracked open for a little bit. That makes sense. Seems like Toronto is managing to adjust better for now. But they could use a little bit of help. That is cleared. Some some of these things that could have been good ended up being offsides, but you know how it is. Oh, Colorado also had defensemen, but that didn't affect them. Well then, and we have a player for Colorado over into the wall. Yep, we definitely managed to hit phase 7. No, wait, we actually made it to phase 8 now. We made it to phase 8. Wonder what phase 9 is going to be. Once again, it's not going to be close to the net. Now, Colorado's back to advancing. That ball is sent out of bounds. Again. They love sending it out of bounds for something. Collision there. Just goes in the way of Toronto. He just briefly cut over to Wells. Now you gotta remember, Wells already has a yellow. Does it develop into a red? After a contested battle, it finally goes out of bounds. That was quite the contested battle for who can get possession. Call for a handball. And it looks like they're going to call a yellow. They call a yellow for Navarro. So Miguel Navarro is going to be called a yellow throughout that process. And now Toronto is advancing. That goes into the net. Right there, just inside of it. They finally connect after multiple misses. And Richie Laria manages to be the one to get it in. Toronto finally gets on the board. After a shot from right, I think they were preparing for a different kind of angle, but it goes in. It was just the right angle to finally get it through. That was a much needed it score that Toronto could have used. And it came at the right spot. Jeez. I don't even listen to how badly the thing itself is. I'm still trying to make sure it's at a good sweet spot. Come to think about it, it probably has hit a couple of those sparks. I'll have to check. I'll check back and see one of these days. How it is for headphones. I know that I use a more professional mic than I do with like your built-in laptop mic. That one is stopped there. Stefan not letting another goal occur on his watch. And they're gonna call foul. So play continues, and they're gonna call a yellow. They're gonna call a yellow on Zane Mondelez. So we had one. We have a yellow for Miguel Navarro, and now a yellow for Zane Mondelez. So was enough of a physical challenge to warrant it. So he still got players on the verge of a red. Again. Wonder what happens if multiple reds are given into a given team. How do the numbers look? That's what I want to know. How would the numbers look? That'd be a good question for me to ask. But Toronto do need to score another goal to force the game to end in a draw. And that is gonna be blocked. Multiple attempts blocked. And a late offsides call from the flag. It missed and hit off the post. But it was offside anyway. And we have player down for Toronto. And I think and they're still letting play continue on. Fans aren't happy about it. But he was able to get up. So I don't think the fans are happy about it. I think I'm hearing some ref you suck chants in there. But a little bit of some attempt at some trickery. And they're going to stop play there. Looks like it's going all the way back, and they're going to get a yellow card for Josh Adencia. And he's going to just come immediately off. He got hit with a yellow, and he was told, you know what, your day's done. Come out of here. So Josh Adencia is not going to be back the rest of the game. Well, it looks like based on this feed here, I'm about to find out what's gonna happen. And there's here comes a second yellow to Miguel Navarro, and he's gone too. And now Stefan is over there trying to help make a case. So we're about to find out what happens. It goes to okay, it's a 10v9. So it's basic. So basically, I can just. So maybe I can copy and paste. So that's a second red. So I think I can do some little something like this. That's a second red for Navarro. So that's yellow. That's red number 2. It's 10v9. How rare do you get a game like this? How rare do you get a game like this? Where I have to whip out a second red for a particular team. Man, talk about the discipline. There is still Navarro in there, but that's all the way in. It's an own goal. It's an own goal for Rosenberry. This game is tied. Colorado player knocked it in onto his own goalie, and Stefan couldn't stop it. Stefan was lined up trying to receive the kick, and it just goes straight into the net. It's a tied game right now. A major error on Stefan. What kind of game is this? We're at like phase 9, then we just hit phase 10. Now we're looking at what phase 11 could be. What the heck? Oh, thank you. Yeah, Keegan Rosenberry got credit for an own goal on all that. Jeez, flip Colorado. This has been one of the most drunk games I've seen out of. This is one of the most drunk games I've seen in a hot minute. Jesus. I mean, they finally corrected it to Stefan uh, scoring on himself. Oh, Jesus. Can't, and I just got my dinner, too. Blown to nothing lead. This is just drunk. Jeez, I certainly picked a good one. And now Stefan's trying to make up for it. Jeez. Can't even commentate right anymore. Well, there were some collisions there. Man. So there are some substitutions going on for Colorado. They're just using all three of them at once. Cobb is subbing in for Aronson. The other Navarro's being subbed off for Yappy. And Manioma is coming off for Murphy. And that's straight in! Toronto has a lead! Complete choke job from Colorado. And it's for Josh Sargent. Three straight unanswered goals. And also, there was a yellow card at the end of the celebration for Richie Laurier. Guess you can get a yellow for excessive celebration. This has been one of the. This has literally been one of the most drunk games I've seen in a bit. I'm just curious as to how much stoppage time there's going to be. That's crazy stuff here. Just crazy stuff. Seriously, I would hate. This is this is the kind of stuff that makes you question things. And now we're gonna get another. We're not gonna see a conclusion anytime soon, aren't we? And now Noah Cobb is being shown is going to be given to yellow. Oh yeah. That'll do it. "12 minutes of stoppage time, dear Lord." There's been so much shenanigans in this second half. We're gonna have 12 minutes of stoppage. And Toronto's now making use of some substitutions, it seems like. So Sargent's came off for Emilio. This has seriously been one of the most drunk games I'm seeing in a bit. Quite literally. And I can't even commentate properly. Because I gotta balance between that and eating. Is there anything else that I need to worry about? Yep, there's one right there. They're gonna show a yellow for that one. And as for Hamzat Arden, there's been so many yellows today. Wonder what's next. I forgot what phase we're on at this point. Just craziness across the board. Well, apparently there was some sort of dramatic pause. Man, there's just gonna be all kinds of corners now. We gone through more phases in the MCU that has good quality. You already told the total time is already going to exceed 100 minutes. Yep, and there's still more stuff going on. I'm just waiting for the next crazy thing to happen. That's all I'm waiting for at this point. The time is waiting in for Colorado to tie it up. I would hate to see how entertaining any of the others end up being. Sorry, I'm trying to eat here, but butter. That went over. It was like a sliding save that went over. Seriously though, apparently for 10 versus 10 or 10 versus 9, it's not as rare as I would think, but I can only imagine that it's not that common. That it's pretty uncommon to see it happen. Either one. This has been crazy. I wonder if there's a way for me to summarize it. As we end up creeping past 100 minutes at this rate. It looks like they're starting to slow down, thinking they may not have a chance. I am just amazed at how badly Colorado has fumbled this. What is discipline around here? Need to see if I can provide a proper summary of this. I'm just starting to think Colorado's giving up. Nope, that ain't happening. What a complete joke job from Colorado. It was a complete and utter choke job. Can you believe this? Game's over. That is basically all there is for this particular game. No, I'm not joking. That's like the main highlight. Yeah, that's Josh Sargent got player of the match for getting the game winning goal. Well, I can definitely tell you thank you so much for tuning into this particular game. I was very drunk, and we're definitely gonna see if they can get even more drunker next time. But until then, travel safely.